All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everyone is doing well. And I'd like to welcome Mr. Darrian Douglas and welcome to all of you all joining us tonight.
Yeah, man. How y'all doing out there? How you doing, Greg?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm
what-
good. It's good to see you, man. It's good to see you.
it's great to see you. How is week 2 with your new family?
Week three.
Week 3?
Yeah,
Excuse
bro.
me.
Time flies. Time flies, man.
Oh, I know.
Things are good.
I know you're counting the days.
Like every day is a new adventure for me, man. And as soon as we get Michael in here in just a second, Michael Watson is our guest today on the Working Artist Project.
That's right.
And the great Michael Watson, and there he is. He's on. What's up, Mike?
What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Oh man, we're doing good.
Mr. Watson, what's up?
Greg, what's going on, baby?
Long time no see.
I know, man.
If you guys were tuned in just now, you heard Michael's voice on that tune, and I believe that was an original composition by Mike. Am I right on that?
Yeah, it was a compilation between myself and a Swiss artist, Mr. Frank Salas.
Okay.
We have a band together. It's called Salas and Watson, and we put together a record and did like a soft release, a couple years ago. And that's just a tune entitled "The Days I'd Like to Know."
Wow.
Frank wrote a lot of the music, and I put my little flavor on it, and then also put the lyrics to some of the tunes. So.
All right. Yeah, bro. Mike, see, y'all probably don't know this, but Michael is the most soulful human being on the planet.
Yo,
I don't know about that.
I second that. Let me tell you, Michael Watson can make everyone get up and dance and play trombone and just like, man, throw a party. And then all of a sudden he picks up the mic and starts singing a song and make everyone cry and slow dance and tell his mom and stuff.
That's right.
And I know that because I sat next to you for like 8 years on a gig.
Man, bro, it might have been like 10 years, actually, man.
Something like that.
A long time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So for everybody, just so they know where we at, we can have a good starting point. Mike's from Ohio. He moved from Ohio, eventually came down to New Orleans. He was in the Marines. So, don't with him because he can.
Yeah.
And that's where I met Mike down in New Orleans. I can't remember exactly what, maybe 2010, 2009, somewhere in there.
I think it was 2009. Yeah,
2009.
Old Point Bar.
Old Point Bar. We used to hang out at this place. Yeah, remember that
place? What was the name of the guitar player? That wasn't Russell you came up with, huh?
You know what? It might have been, dude. I can't remember, but it might have been.
Yeah.
It might have been Russell. And so anyway, we became fast friends, hanging out there, playing in this smoky environment. This is back in so far away. You could smoke inside.
It was so bad.
We've been playing music so long. We remember when you could smoke in the bars.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we've had the opportunity, all three of us, to tour the world together, and now we're family men. Huh, Mike?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, you're right. Congratulations again, man.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
We have come a long way. I kind of want to start this thing out and just talking about New Orleans, man, and talking about New Orleans back then. You moved to New Orleans in what year again? I can't remember.
I got to New Orleans in June of 2006.
Dude, wow. So from 2006 to 2020, you a New Orleanian, man. What? What are
I thank you for saying that, but I'll let somebody from New Orleans tell me I'm a New Orleanian.
Okay, all right. We gotta get Joe.
I can't claim that, bro.
Okay, all right. We'll get somebody.
That's how you know you're legit, though. You're like, look, I'm from here, but I'm really not from here.
Yeah.
To let everyone know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some things that you've seen in the city that have changed for the positive, and some things that you've seen that's changed for the negative? Because you came a year after Katrina.
Yeah, just under a year, man. And I didn't really get to experience much of the city until probably around 2008. Prior to that, I was dealing with mostly military stuff, but what little bit I got to see, the Maison used to be the boom boom room,
Mm-hmm.
Greg, that's how I knew Frenchmen, before it turned into, fast forward, you know, the Bourbon Street that it's becoming now. But you know, most of the, from what I can remember, and now that you when you say 2006 to 2020, I'm like, man, like I didn't realize it had been that long. You know, I looking back at it, I'm like, I remember the days when I, you know, all the cats that are from New Orleans that are part of the reason why I do what I do. I remember the days when I used to see them out there, and I remember, you know, the gradual transition from seeing cats like Shannon Powell and Leroy Jones and you know, even cats, you know, like, you know, Kid Chocolate, you know, like seeing those cats out there. I remember the different transitions to from then to what it has unfortunately become in my mind now.
You know,
So
a good thing to tell people, because some people may have never been to New Orleans, but they seen Treme. We talk, this place that we're talking about is Frenchman Street.
yeah.
And the Maison is a club on Frenchman Street that was called the Boom Boom Room. Even when I moved to New Orleans,
It was
But still,
owned,
okay.
it was owned by what's his face? Kermit Ruffins owned it, I think.
Oh wow,
Really?
I think so.
Okay.
Don't get me. I think so. I'm 90% sure, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
yeah, but it was like 2 or 3 clubs on the street at the time, and now the street is basically Bourbon Street. It's a club in every door, it's a restaurant in every door. It's popping. It's nothing but tourists, and where it used to be a local attraction. You know?
And there's a cover band too in every club.
Oh no!
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you know, and that was part of the issue, you know, with the transition in my eyes. You know, I know some of the old heads, and you know, even Greg, you can probably attest to this, you know, like it, you know, even before like the cover bands, like some of the bands that were coming along that were transforming Frenchman into what it eventually has become were not some of the best bands, you know, because for us as jazz musicians, a cover band, it means a different thing than what people know cover bands. You know, like when we play jazz music, we're covering music. You know, we're, you know, as a jazz ensemble, we're technically a cover band. We're playing standards. You know, that's what we do. But there's a different essence that is carried when you talk about carrying on the tradition of jazz standards versus different genres of music, and what it means to carry on playing jazz standards versus covering other genres of music. I won't throw out any, you know, names of genres or songs that offend anybody, but you know,
and it's all great music too. It's nothing. It's
it
not
is. That's the thing. It's all great music, you know, but it just there's a different meaning, you know, like what we do as jazz musicians. It harbors so much more history, and will always, than any other genre that exists now. So
especially in a place like New Orleans too, where you know, again, like this is the birthplace of so much American music, and a lot of people come visit New Orleans for the unique experience of being able to hear New Orleans music in the native land, and hear people from New Orleans play it. And you know, and I mean, that's not saying people who are not from here can't play that music, but again, it's such a unique experience for us, and also the people listening to the music, to be in the birthplace of jazz and experience it, keep the traditions, like you were saying, going.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. You know, New Orleans is a special place, and I feel like, you know, we're all transplants, right? And I feel like I kind of grew up in New Orleans. I became a man in New Orleans, you know. And
Yeah.
you guys were a part of that process, and now that you are at this second part of life, right? You got 3 little girls. And how does that intersect fatherhood? How does it intersect with the music?
That's a very interesting question. You know, I can say I didn't like put my official band together, the Alchemy, and start doing my music until after I had my first daughter, Adeline. And it wasn't because of her that I had it. You know, there were I guess like a handful of reasons why it just kind of all came to be around that time. But having a child definitely inspired finishing my music. And it wasn't even, like I remember the moment that Adam was born, and it was like an instant click where I became 100% selfless. My life wasn't about me anymore. It was about my child. And it was such a beautiful experience. And so as I put the band together and I'm thinking about everything that I'm going to do, everything that I do with my music, and since then, since 2016, since then, everything that I do, everything that I have done has been about my then child and now family and my wife. Every decision I make, be it music or not music, it's all about my family. But not to get too far off musically, I was inspired by my daughter to want to finish this music because I knew that when she grew up, I wanted her to know that her father had made something of himself. Be it for the whole world or even just the family, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
I, as an artist, I wanted my daughter to know that I represented something.
Yeah.
And so as I had a second and now third child, it's further inspiration to keep pushing towards, creating a legacy. If anything, I say bare minimum, but it's funny because it's not bare minimum. It's my family, which is the most, you know what I mean? So it's like creating a legacy for my children that, that's what has transpired from the Michael Watson before family to the Michael Watson once family began.
Can I ask you, what do you mean exactly by legacy? Because again, like having known you for all these years, you are incredibly successful, and I think in the eyes of a lot of people who were watching you in your time in New Orleans, you're a big deal down here, and you've done so much international traveling and been like a showcase sideman at so many gigs. So like, what does legacy mean, like in relation to that?
For me, legacy means not being afraid to do something that represents who you are entirely. Because I think at the end of the day, when the lights turn out, for good, if you've not done something in your life that represents who you are entirely, then what was the purpose? You know what I mean? We go through life doing all these things to please, X, Y, and Z, but we don't live to fulfill ourselves. And some people are like, oh, well, that's selfish. Well, no, I can't give myself to other people until I have fulfilled myself 100%, and give and have given my purpose to the world. I can't give my purpose, the reason why I'm here, the reason I have the talents or gifts or what have you that I harbor inside of me. I can't give that out to anyone else, even if it's just to make them smile for 4 hours at the Spotted Cat. I can't give that fully until I have fulfilled that within myself. And so by pushing on and creating and putting out this music and by doing that, I'm now beginning to create my own legacy. It's not about sharing it worldwide. It's about just doing it, accomplishing something. Having done this, I have accomplished something, and that shows my children that if you push and believe in yourself, you can accomplish anything. And accomplishments don't have to be winning Grammys or Golden Globes or national championships. Accomplishments come big and small.
Mm-hmm.
And so putting this music out there, like that to me is a major accomplishment. And to them, they might see it, oh, like my dad has music that I can hear.
Yeah.
That will live with them forever. That's legacy.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, man. Like just leaving that physical product behind is a piece of legacy, just the same way for some people leaving them $1 billion is a piece of legacy. It's making sure that your family's life is easy or it's enhanced in some way. And, you know, you can see your kids, you know, just like we do with our own fathers, you know, our mothers, like there's something that they left behind. That can be a comb. You can be like, man, this was my mama comb, man. She used to comb my hair every Sunday with this comb like this here.
Yeah.
It just brings up some kind of memory. And I think that's monumental, you know. Absolutely.
Well, man, let me tell you, if you're talking about legacy like that, man, I guess I always think of like legacy as like remembering how people made you feel.
Mm-hmm.
And let me just, you know, as a performer, Michael, I know that you have left a great legacy on many people. So I hope that, you know, you feel that way.
Yeah.
I've witnessed it. And I've had to play solos after it too.
No, trust me, Greg, that feeling is definitely reciprocated, man. That's why I have to, you know, I remember those days. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'll look back at somebody else and I'm like, somebody else.
So right now y'all talking about playing in Irvin Mayfield's band, right? The New Orleans Jazz Orchestra.
No, actually, we were talking about. Well, to me, I'm thinking about the days.
Oh, Christina's band.
With Christina.
That's right. I forgot about that band.
Yeah, me and Greg spent many a year side by side on that bandstand, bro. Good and bad.
Good.
You know,
like we could write a book just based on what happened in that club.
Yeah, real talk. Yeah.
I forgot about that band. That was that band lasted a long time too. Y'all were at the Spotted Cat on Sundays, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before Pat Casey, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, right before Pat Casey and the New Sound, and I guess it was 2010. For whatever reason, I feel like it was 2009, but I mean, I was still in the military then, so it must have been 2010 because I got out in January of 2010.
Okay, speaking of the military, let's go there.
All right.
Why in the hell does a black man join the military and then the Marines? Like, you should have joined the Air Force or some shit, man.
Well, you know, so it's funny you say that. So being from Canton, Ohio, we had a festival every summer called the Ridge Burnoff.
Okay.
And during that festival, the Air Force Band, the Airmen of Note, they would always come and perform every year for the fireworks portion of the night. And I remember seeing them and just, you know, and still today, the Airmen of Note, they're a phenomenal band. Mm-hmm. You know, if I can say calculated, however, phenomenal band. You know, they're very tight, very precise. They sound great. But as a child, I remember seeing that and thinking, okay, that's cool. Like, yeah, you know, like I see my pops playing music, you know, doing gigs and stuff and teaching music. And then I see these guys during the 4th of July festival and I'm like, oh, wow, that's so cool. Like, I want to do that. You know what I mean? So, you know, but fast forward through the years, I actually wanted to go to school for medicine. I wanted to be a pediatrician. And then my junior year in high school, I was doing a thing at the Cuyahoga Community College in Cleveland, playing in their all-star jazz band. And I had an in with my older brother, Tony Watson, who's a sax player. He got me involved with that program up there. And that's actually how I met Sean Jones.
Oh, wow.
And so there were some really great cats playing there. Some cats that eventually went on to Juilliard and came back to, like, you know, do the thing. You know, Cleveland was still like a happening spot then. You know, that was like, what was that, like 2000, 2001. So stuff was kind of still happening there. So anyways, I went to graduated 2003. Went to school for a year and a half. And then I left school actually because my mom got sick. And I tried to go to school for the year afterwards, but it just, commuting for an hour every day just kind of didn't work out. So I left school, moved back home. And that was actually the one and only time I've ever had like a job. You know, I worked at, a lot of people don't know this about me. I worked at the Olive Garden and Bob Evans.
Oh, what?
Damn, dude.
Yeah, I was
Wow.
a server and a busser. And then at Bob Evans, I worked in the kitchen on dishes. And actually, I loved it, man. I loved being back there doing that. Especially like during the lunch rush. It was like, oh, how fast can we get this stuff clean, you know? But yeah, my mom got sick and I moved back home. And you know, for the next year, I was doing some gigs with my older brother and my dad. And then when my mom went into remission, I needed a change. You know, it was very hard. Like my parents separated right before we found out my mom had cancer. And then you know, we found out my mom had cancer, and then, you know, fast forward a year, I needed a change. I needed something. And my cousin was a grunt in the Marines, and one of my best friends now of almost 30 years, she went into the Marines, and I was like, all right, well, I guess if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna go for it. So I'm gonna join the military. And then if I'm gonna join the military, might as well go for it. Just do the hardest thing, you know, like push myself to the limit. And I, you know, still to this day, when people ask me, well, why the Marines as opposed to anything else? And I don't know what it was about it. You know, I don't know if it was like a subconscious, you know, my mother has cancer, my parents got divorced. I need to beat that kind of thing, you know, like I have to beat that. I need to go to the extreme to be able to beat that. You know, some people go cliff diving, some people, you know, go, you know, jumping out of planes. For me, it was, let me go through 3 months of rigorous, brutal training to become like one of the elite fighting machines of the United States. You know, like that was just, for whatever reason, that's what it was for me. And so, yeah, I went that route.
Wow.
Did you enlist as like infantry or anything like that, or were you
No,
specifically?
I enlisted. Yeah, I enlisted as a bandsman. And there was like an audition, and that's actually how I ended up in New Orleans. I got to choose because I scored high enough on my audition for the Marine Band that I got to choose my duty station. And so New Orleans was number 1, and Okinawa, Japan was number 2, and then Miramar, California was number 3. And it was all based on, like, you know, the way that they position things is like this, you know, like the NFL, like, oh, we need you here, so we need a quarterback or we need a wide receiver. Well, they needed a trombone player at the time that I had graduated from boot camp and Marine combat training. And so, you know, fast forward 6 months, I ended up in New Orleans.
Wow.
I'm glad you moved to New Orleans, man, not Okinawa, Japan.
Yeah.
Everything would be different. Everything. Your whole life would
Very
be
different.
Man, I wanna switch gears just for a second and get into your band, The Alchemy. And so if you can just tell us how it started and what The Alchemy means to you. And then after that, we'll get into one of your tunes.
All right. Yeah, the band, I had been, the music that we play is songs at the time when we got started in 2016. It was songs that I had written over the span of like I don't know, I guess 10 years of my life.
Mm.
And I had never performed my music, really, like I remember like the Battle of the Bands we did with you, Darrian, at Cafe
Oh
Istanbul
yeah.
when I was with Barry's band,
Yeah,
yeah,
that night y'all lost.
yeah, whatever, man. That's you were sadly forgetting. Contributed to even now your fatherhood. You're in like a fog because it's all brand new. You don't remember how it happened.
Oh,
I get it. I've been there. I get it. But we did a song that was a tribute to my mom, and but prior to that, I had never played any of my music in public. And for a few years, I had spent talking to different cats about, interest in like playing my music and being in my band and just kind of getting a feel for it. And it took a long time, but I finally found the right cast for the band. And so once I put the band together, we started rehearsing, and we had our debut night at the Playhouse. And since then we've just been playing those tunes and working on them and perfecting them, and they've all been transforming into different things. And there's a guideline for the music, but there's not like a hardcore, we have to do this, then we have to do that, then we have to do that, because that's not who I am as a person, as an artist. And part of the reason why it took me so long to select the right guys for the band was because each role of the 5 members, myself included, is very specific, very crucial. Ricardo Pascal is one of those cats where like he knows, and also Ricardo and I have been playing together for years at that point. We've been out across the world, and I was like, it just like, for whatever reason, he and I just really gelled with that style of music. And so, but he's also that cat where like, all right, Ricardo, go and unleash him, and he's just boom. But but that's a very specific role with some of the music. I needed a drummer who knew how to stay in his lane and do what a drummer is supposed to do, which, a lot of cats are like all about chops. You know what I mean? It's like, that's cool, but that's not what I'm about. That's not what I'm trying to do with the music. You know what I mean? So, I need the drummer to lay down the foundation. And when the band started, Willie Green was that cat. I was like, okay, I love the way Willie plays. And I still love the way Willie plays. It was just like, boom, perfect cat. I met Will Thompson, and he's the guy playing the bass who can, no matter who we're playing with, he is able to guide you through anything and everything. Like, it could be somebody playing the gig for the very first time, which I won't name names as of the piano player, but I did a gig at the Playhouse one time, and I hired a piano player, and he didn't check out the tunes. And like my stuff's not like, complicated. It's no like, it's not James Black tunes, you know what I mean? But it's stuff you got to check out to be able to get through it. Some of the tunes have a lot of different time changes and everything, and the piano player didn't check it out. And fortunately, they were man enough to admit it, as the gig started. But thanks to Will being on that gig, it was a smooth gig. Everything went over as it should, because he can guide. He's my MD on the stage,
Okay.
And then Shay, I mean, we know it's Shay Pierre. Like, enough said about Shay, but he's been the one cat that has really truly pushed me beyond my limits as a vocalist. Like, in the beginning, I was like, oh man, he's doing all this and I can't hang. But then he helped me graduate from it. He helped me become like oh, you're gonna do that? Okay, cool. I'm right there. I'm right there. And then it became like, sometimes I'm like, hey, Shay, listen to me. Like, I'm going here, bruh. Like, let's go there. And then, so there's a level of understanding between Shay and I. So I spent a lot of time picking out the right members of the band for the, the simple fact that, you know, alchemy is, you know, a lot of people know the scientific term, but it's when everything comes together in a harmonious moment, but through methods of which cannot be explained. And that's the reason why, like, the music there, it's a guideline, but I allow it to grow to what it does grow to on any given night of the week that we perform, because that's the whole point, you know, to transform and transcend into something that is whatever it's going to be, you know. And so that's why the band, sorry, I know that was a long story, but that's why the band is called Alchemy.
That's what's up, bro.
I think it's important to know, like, how, you know, again, in a band, you're putting together, I mean, a football team or something, and everyone plays a role. And I love hearing why people chose certain musicians to be in their band.
Yeah.
Man, why don't we go ahead and get into the tune? What's the name of this one that we're gonna play, Mike?
This is called The Beginning. And, you know, so again, it's one of those things, like, what you're gonna hear now is like studio version of it, which was important because, you know, when we got into the studio, I have blessed to have the one and only Mr. Jameson Ross producing the record.
Right.
And, you know, what we do on stage, sometimes a song will be like 20 minutes long, you know, but for good reason. It's not because we're up there bullshitting, you know, it's like, it's going here, you know what I mean? And I'm not going to get in the way of that. So, but yeah, this is called The Beginning. This was actually, I wrote this tune when I was 15 years old, believe it or not.
Wow.
But yeah, The Beginning.
There you go.
Cool. Yeah, Michael, it's a gorgeous tune.
Yeah, bro, that was great, man. That was beautiful, man. That really got me on the chill vibe, man.
Yeah.
I gotta say though, it's missing clarinet. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, man. What was that song about? The beginning.
Um, I I don't know. I remember being uh actually at my dad's school. I went. He taught music at a middle school called Crenshaw High School or Crenshaw Middle School. And at the time, I was we used to work this summer music program that was a grant through the city, and the bands actually used to march during the Kickoff Hall of Fame parade. And that was also the same time that the Airmen of Note came for that particular festival. And I was teaching lessons, and that was around the first time that I really started getting comfortable playing piano and like messing around with like time signatures. Honestly, the first the first song I ever learned on piano was Casey and JoJo's All My Life. Because, you know, that's what all the fellows, you know, that's what the fellows was learning, like trying to get the girls, you know what I mean? So like, that's what I was doing, you know? So, but, you know, I took piano lessons when I was like a kid, but I hated it, you know? And I didn't pick it back up until middle school. But then when I got into high school, when I was around like 14, 15, 16 years old, I started playing by ear, and it was just really like, that was, you know, no pun intended, that was the beginning of me like getting into different colors and emotions while I was playing music, and just kind of feeling and hearing things and letting things, you know, just kind of transpire into what they were going to be musically. And so I remember like recording some of that on the piano. And then as the piano track was playing, while I was waiting for my next student to come, because I had like an hour, and I remember just like playing around with the different melodies. And that was when, that was kind of around the time when I also realized that like, I'm a big person for harmonies and melodies. I'm a very, you know, like, I think stylistically, I'm going to be a melodic player. Like that's kind of what I hear when I play. And it actually ended up being like, a lot of times when I solo, it's kind of like the route that I take, as opposed to like, you know, any other route. But so that was kind of why that tune ended up being called The Beginning.
Okay. Man, I'm just sitting here, and I want to circle back to some stuff that you touched on earlier with your mom. And I knew your mom, and she was dope. She always treated me like I was her son, you know.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
And a few years back, you lost her to cancer. And a few words that come to mind, seeing you go through that process, and at the time and not understanding it, but understanding it now, is spirituality, perseverance, and loss. And how would you kind of process those three words now?
Spirituality, perfect example. My younger brother Bryant, who was actually the drummer on that track that you heard, he's who's playing in my band now.
Okay.
He called me the other day, first thing in the morning. He was like, "Mike, I had a dream about mom," and I was like, "All right, well, what was your dream?" And he was like, "Well, it was like reliving every moment up to her passing."
Wow.
And I've had I've had moments, you know, like that where I relive that last phone call where she couldn't even hear she could hear me, but she couldn't talk back, you know, like the final moments before she passed. And I've had dreams reliving that moment. I remember living on or laying on the tile floor of my house on not house, but the apartment I lived in, Kelly and I's first apartment actually, on Franklin and Rampart. Well, St. Claude on that end, but whatever. Curled up in a ball, crying my eyes out when Tony called me and told me that mom was gone. And the phone call that happened just a couple hours before that was me apologizing to my mom for not having been there. Because at the time, my daughter, she was 6 days old. You know, my mom passed away a week after my daughter was born. Right. And so, you know, it wasn't like I could just jump on a plane and, you know, get there, but it's like, should I have, you know? So I was apologizing to my mom, but even in her breathing, I could hear her telling me, don't you apologize. Like that's the type of woman my mom was. Her last breaths, she couldn't talk, but in her last breaths, I could hear her, I could feel her telling me, don't you apologize for not being here, because you did what I raised you to do, and it's be a good man and be a good family man. And so, spirituality wise, when I struggle still to this day, because that's the kind of thing that when you lose a parent, it doesn't go away. It just doesn't. And so in my moments of struggle, I think back to that, and I feel her presence with me in those moments of struggle, reminding me that I made the right decision, and that I have made the right decisions. And you know, perseverance, man, I went through some dark times right after she passed. My now wife almost left me. It was bad. I lost myself to alcohol. It was really bad. But when I had a reality check, it was my mom. She was there, and she told me I needed to straighten my act out. And so I did. And I remembered, you know, that spirituality part, you know, it's all connected. And so she reminded me that you need to be the man that I raised you to be. You need to persevere. And I felt her perseverance, you know, like with her and my dad splitting, it was hard on her, especially, you know, a month afterwards, you know, finding out that she was sick with cancer. But she persevered, man. You know, she fought cancer for 12 years.
Yeah.
12 years, man. I got, you know, her I had pictures of dancing with her, you know, at her 50th birthday, man. Like she danced like nothing was wrong, you know?
Yeah.
That's perseverance. You know? And sorry, what was the last thing?
Loss.
Oh, yeah. I just circle back to the fact that that's something that never goes away. And, you know, I obviously, yeah, I have 3 children, but I talk about my first daughter a lot because my mom never got to see her in person. She saw her twice on FaceTime. And I remember the very last call or the last text my mom got, I was getting on the gig and I actually ignored the text. I was headed on stage at the Playhouse, and when I saw on break, it was like 11:30 at night because Irvin liked to play really long sets for whatever reason. Darren, you were on some of those gigs.
Oh yeah, yes I was.
And she was like, I'm missing my daily text of my niece. Please send it to me. That was the last text I ever got from my mom. And so that kind of loss, man, it makes going through this this pandemic we're going through right now like it's nothing, bro. I tell you what, because I wish that kind of loss on nobody. But as weak as my voice may sound with right now with that loss, it has definitely strengthened me to be the family man that I am today. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, one thing I can attest to that you said is your mom never looked or acted sick. Like,
yeah,
because I think one of the last memories I had, like the last one I saw, was at Bacchanal. We were at Bacchanal for
that's
some
right.
reason.
Yeah,
and I was like, man, your mom not sick, man. We drinking wine, we having a good time, laughing, we joking.
Yeah.
And I was like, Mike, she gonna be all right, bro. Like I really felt that she was, but that's how life goes. And I know about loss because in 1 year we lost 2 babies, and I lost my mentor. So that kind of thing is rough. Is rough, man. And, so I'm right there with you, man.
Yeah,
man. Michael, thank you so much for sharing that, man. I know that's
absolutely, man.
That's such an intimate.
Of course, man. It's a part of who I am. I would be remiss if I didn't share that. It's in the music too. So
yeah, bro, that's heavy.
Dude.
Virtual hugs, bro. Shoot.
Yeah.
Yo, this is one of those moments where it's just like, man, I love you guys both so much, and it's just like, it's again like, a lot. I guess as we all get older, we're all musicians. I think one of the things that really bonded us was our love for music and really wanting to get out there and play, and it's a blessing to get older and wiser with you all. To learn those other lessons too that are above and beyond the music. Not above and beyond the music, but part of the music. It's just the shit they don't teach you in school.
Absolutely.
And to have that connection with you all and to share that connection on the bandstand is really a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for doing that, sharing that
bro.
with me.
Yeah, bro. I love you too, man.
We came a long way from running around a Scone.
What, dude?
We're gonna leave that right there.
I'm pretty sure there's a wanted poster of one of us still out there. At the grocery store, just like,
we done came around. Boy, I tell you what, that was Lord.
That's right. Look, man, we coming up on we're in the last few minutes of this interview. Time flew, huh?
Yeah, it did.
I don't want to miss the opportunity for you to plug a few things, and if there's some things you wanna plug, now is the time to do that, and tell the people where to get your record and they can check your music out and all that.
Oh yeah, I mean, with the pandemic, the record's on hold and everything, but the website, but it's all coming up soon. It's gonna be michaelwatsonmusic.com. It's not there yet, but it's gonna be out soon. I'm finishing up the record right now. As everyone can imagine, it's just time and money, bro. We got all the time in the world, but no money in the world. You know what I mean? So we're trying to figure all that out. And but yeah, and then one with what's happening right now in the world, I think one important thing, Anthony Mackie, who's from New Orleans, he has a thing that he just recently created over the past couple of months. It's IamAman.vote, and if you go to that website, it gives you anything and everything you need to know of how to register to vote. Because amongst the Black community, it just people don't know where to go. They don't know how to vote. They don't know what to do. And so he took it upon him, and a few other celebrities took it upon themselves to create this website. And it's not like I went on the other day. and emailed them, and Anthony Mackie responded back, and it was like actually him. And I was like, he actually I have on Friday a potential, I'm hoping so, but a potential um uh, video call with him, because I was like, I went on and I'm like emailing, and they're responding back, and they're like literally there. It's not just, they don't have people sitting behind desks doing this. Like, they're like actually involved with this. Because they understand the importance of getting the Black community out to vote. So check that out. Stephen Colbert did a bit the other day doing a very similar thing. So you can go on his website. He's got a thing set up for each individual state, and he's got like all these little videos that he's doing for all these, of how each individual state is set up to vote and all this stuff, man. So, I just, I don't really have like anything of my own to plug, but I think the most important thing I could really advocate for is voting right now in this time, man. Like that's so crucial.
Yeah. Today is September 28th, 2020. And so if you guys go register to vote, you can go to that website Michael just mentioned. But if you want to link with Michael, you can link with him on Instagram. And I think your handle is Michael Watson Music.
Yeah.
And you can send him a DM, say what's up, figure out where to buy his record when it does come out.
Yeah, come talk to me.
There you go. My name is Darrian Douglas.
My name is Gregory Agid. Thank you all very much for joining us. Hey, Michael, when you talk to Anthony Mackie, tell him they still want him down in Cuba, because I spent a week out there with him in Cuba. And
oh, beautiful. Yeah.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for listening to the Working Artist Project. We'll catch y'all later.
Thank you, Michael.
All right, now.
Michael. Peace, bro.